I came into Life Attunement to write an article. I didn't really think that I needed anything or that I wasn't doing well. But after my session, everything changed. I realized that I was putting up with negative emotions that I was feeling every day in mundane situations like traffic and frustration at work, and also in other circumstances in my life, the really important things like relationships. I wasn't holding the quality of my relationships to a high enough standard to be happy. And I was also experiencing physical pain on a daily basis. When I first saw John, I had acid reflux. I felt knee pain and shoulder pain every day. And I accepted that that was a part of adult life. Most of the adults I talked to, they have some sort of chronic pain, and I thought that was just how it was. John teaches you or helps you hold yourself to a higher standard, hold your life to a higher standard where you want more. You want to feel better and be happier. So the sound therapy, the Tibetan bowl healing, was wonderful. It was a really profound experience. And the experience left me so energized and so enthusiastic and so motivated that from that session on, I was looking for ways to improve my life, ways to learn, ways to feel better. So the knee pain wasn't good enough anymore. I saw a physical therapist, I saw a doctor, I changed what I was doing in the gym so that I physically felt better. The negative emotions weren't good enough anymore. I stopped doing certain things, and then other things I just asked myself, why was I there? I reconnected to what I was there for and what I wanted out of it, and that completely changed my attitude. So now, in all these situations where I used to be really negative, I have a positive spin on it, and I'm in control of how I feel. So in situations where we used to feel powerless, like you're stuck in traffic, you have to be in a bad mood. You don't have to be in a bad mood. You don't want to be in a bad mood. It doesn't feel good, so why be in a bad mood? And that's what John helped me to see. He opens up your perspective. He shows you all these resources and opportunities that at least I didn't see before, even though it feels so simple afterwards. But at the time, when you're in a low state, when you're not feeling good, you just don't see all the resources you have. After my first session with John, we had a follow-up, and I told him I was feeling abnormally happy. And he said, why is that abnormal? You know, that's the standard that society accepts, that being happy is abnormal. So now when I see him, I say, I'm normally happy, or I'm still happier. This happy state is my normal state now. I thought I had done everything to heal my injuries, and looking back, I see two big mistakes. The first is that I never gave my injuries an opportunity to heal. Even after I had done physical therapy before and I had done PRP injections, and both times I went straight back to the gym, straight back doing the same stupid things that created the pain in the first place. So what I believe now is that when we believe something subconscious, when it's really deeply ingrained, we'll do whatever it takes to prove it true. So I really believed that I had this pain and that I was always going to be in pain. So even when I had the help from doctors and physical therapists, I made the choices that made the pain worse. And the other thing I was doing is I had a negative attitude. I was in the gym or on a run unhappy. And I think all that negativity stopped the natural healing process. So once I learned to be more positive, once I learned to be in a better mood, the pain drastically decreased, and what was left, I didn't mind, because it's all about how we feel. And if you feel happy, things don't bother you nearly as much. It was the negativity that made the physical pain feel so much worse. So before Life Attunement, I was carrying around all this negativity, and it was making me unhappy, it was making me angry, it was causing me physical pain, and I didn't even know it. I accepted it as how I was going to feel for the rest of my life and how most people feel most of the time. I thought it was normal. And then I went to Life Attunement, and John is so understanding and so compassionate that I was opening up and saying things that I had never even said out loud to myself. And as soon as I said them out loud, it was like a weight coming off of my shoulders. And I instantly felt better. And that was the first 15 minutes of the session. I remember thinking that we're only 15 minutes into it. And then John gave me a whole list of books and articles that drastically changed my perspective on things. One of the things I think that's so great about Life Attunement is that John doesn't just help you, he provides you with resources for additional help. He gave me information for an acupuncturist that he likes. He gave me a series of books to read about physical injuries and how to treat them. He gave me exercises to take home, gratitude exercises that made me feel more positive and more energetic every single morning. After the conversation with John, he kind of asks, what do I want and what's stopping me from getting what I want? And then we move into the sound healing, where I lay down on the table and there's all these crystals pointing down at me, and there's crystals all around me, and there's Tibetan bowls on top of me and around me. And you close your eyes and John puts something over my eyes and he starts playing the bowls and gongs and flute, and it was an incredibly profound experience. The Tibetan monks say that the bowls are used to travel into other dimensions, and after you've had a session with the Tibetan bowls, you don't laugh at that statement at all. It describes it perfectly. It was this very transformative experience where, even though it was all happening in my head, these experiences were 100% real, and they were experiences I needed to grow and to learn and to feel better. You go into this trance state where the easiest way to describe it is to picture a dream, but it feels drastically different. Even while we're dreaming, there's a part of us that knows it's not happening. And in this trance, it's the complete opposite feeling. This experience is happening. It is impacting you. You're making decisions, you're learning, and you're growing in this state. For me, I was in outer space and I was fighting these monsters, and John had given me a rock. It was peacock ore, and I was holding it in my right hand on the table, but in the trance state, that rock was a sword. And I remember fighting the monsters with it, and there was this moment where I'm fighting the monster, and all this energy that the monster had, I split the monster open and it was hollow. There was nothing inside the monster. It was all just empty, and all that energy is just rushed behind me and transformed into this set of giant golden wings. And for the rest of my session, I just flew around the world and around the universe with these giant golden wings. And I left the table, I left Life Attunement walking on air. I had a spring in my step. I was beaming, and I am consistently happier than I was before. After my most recent session with John, I saw him a couple days afterwards, and he was like, hey, I was thinking about what we talked about, and he started giving me more thoughts of his, more things to read, and I was completely touched by the fact that he was still thinking about me days later. I don't think anyone else, your doctor isn't going to call you like a week later and be like, hey, I was thinking about you the other day and I thought of more stuff. No one else does that. And it was a really touching experience.